Today we are leaving on a jet plane in search of the Rocky Mountain High in the story of MassRoots. MassRoots is a rapidly growing social media platform that has been kicked out of both the Apple and Google App Store, as well as kicked off of virtually every social media platform there is. The company has even had bank accounts frozen on them. Just a few of the extra hurdles that occur if your social media app is cannabis focused. But this group of 4 early 20-somethings have overcome them all. So if receiving updates on how to roll a braided joint or progress on marijuana legalization isn't your cup of tea, then MassRoots may not be your social media platform. But if learning about building a massive social media app from an idea that you and your friends had one night, then this is your episode. MassRoots came to be all because of the sharing of an idea amongst a few friends. Because what do a few friends sitting around smoking a doob feel comfortable doing? Sharing ideas. We're gonna learn how MassRoots went from high-dia to high growth. This is the story of MassRoots. This is Lifestyle by Design, the true story of what it's like to become an entrepreneur, travel the world, and bring ideas like yours to life. I'm Nate Wolverton, and I travel the world to meet with entrepreneurs, startup founders, and inventors to learn how they brought their ideas to life, while attempting to bring a few ideas to life myself, this series being one of them. Now, regardless of your stance on pot, one thing you cannot deny is that it is an industry, a massive and now legal, in some states, industry. It's estimated to be a $13 to $60 billion a year industry if it were legal nationwide. But let's look at some non-revenue facts about how legalization has affected Colorado. Since legalization in Colorado in 2013 to 2014, according to Colorado.gov, overall crime has dropped only slightly. No, I'm not suggesting that legalizing pot caused this drop. I'm only showing that the data does not suggest that it caused crime to increase. In America, the amount of deaths from prescription drug use and heroin overdose continue to rise as the amount of people getting prescribed rises. To put the numbers of prescription drug deaths in perspective, let's look at the amount of deaths from terrorist attacks. Since 1995, the total number of Americans who've died from terrorist attacks is around 3,500. The amount of Americans who've died from prescription drug overdose? Over 25,000. And that's just in the year 2014. 25,000 in 1 year. The amount of Americans who've died from marijuana overdose? Roughly 0.
Marijuana smoking, experts point out, can make a helpless addict of its victim within weeks, causing physical and moral ruin and death.
Our first drug stop of the trip, coffee. We stop at Huckleberry Roasters and the coffee is insanely good. And I'm a wannabe coffee snob, so I pretend to know what I'm talking about. They have been roasting in Denver since 2011, and you can find them pretty easily doing a Google Maps search like I did. If you're in the Denver area, check them out. After we fuel up, we are on our way to meet with the founders of MassRoots at their new location in downtown Denver. This is Stuart, CTO, co-founder, and sole builder of the very first version of MassRoots.
We've got a dev team out here, so this is kind of the front-end engineering team, back-end team. Yeah, guys, this is Nate. This is popping in for interview. Filming.
Hi there, nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you as well. I love your shirt.
More on where I got that shirt a little bit later.
So this is one space. Another war room, which a couple of these guys are getting ready for the party tonight. They start account services. They manage all the relationships with businesses. But yeah, it's a major improvement from our last space, even though we still don't have it actually ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like all our old furniture in a new office.
I'm excited to see what the old place was. You keep
oh, it's
talking
crazy.
about it.
It's insane. It's like, thank God we're out of there. And we literally, like at this stage, we like literally could not fit this many people in there.
Yeah.
So we just had to grow.
What was like the background story of how this all came to be?
Isaac and myself, our CEO, were actually living in Virginia at the time, and one day Isaac and myself were smoking, and we had the idea to basically come up with a place where we would feel comfortable posting about weed, connecting with other people who smoked, and just being able to express our daily smoking lifestyle anywhere, and there wasn't a place for us to do that. The next day, Isaac went to Hyler and said, look, we have this idea for an app that we want to make. Can you make the graphics for it?
And then when he jumped on board, I mean, I'm pretty sure about 3 weeks later we were up in the App Store.
Of the many lessons we've learned, that was like the first lesson, which was like, the lean startup is great in this space because like we didn't go get $500,000 on some idea and then build it and realize no one wants it.
Yeah.
We did the exact opposite. We spent minimal money, the little money we had to build something, throw it out there, see if people actually wanted it. And when the answer was yes, that's when we went to fundraise, that's when we went to, jump full-time on MassRoots.
And the awesome thing about it was our app barely even worked, and we still had over 7,000 users that were still actively using it, wanting to use it, but they couldn't even use it.
From the start, people were just so passionate because they had never had a place quite like MassRoots to share. So we'd get reviews on the App Store, like 5 stars, but it would be like, I can't really use this app, but I love it. I love MassRoots. I love everyone, but they couldn't do anything, so.
We had such a massive influx of people wanting to use the app, but only one engineer to try to solve all of these problems, and it was pretty awesome. At the same time, we were kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
So how many users now?
420,000.
Wow.
As of yesterday.
420.
Yeah.
Give it the
We made a big 420 announcement yesterday.
Only in this industry is like that a milestone. Like any metric that relates to 420, we get a press release.
What's different about working for a marijuana company than a normal company?
So I think when you come to MassRoots, if you just walked in our office, I don't think you'd have any clue that we were cannabis. So in that sense, it would be really similar to working for any other tech startup. I think we're like, you pick up on kind of the funny nuances is like our account services team is developing relationships with, vape companies, dispensaries, and they'll get a big shipment of like vaporizers and, like 200 pre-rolled joints. And they come to the office with 200 pre-rolled joints, like who wants to take a few home?
Yeah.
We did no smoking in the office, no smoking during the work day. So it's like, other than that, you might come here for a day and not even realize that you're in a cannabis company.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll be like, hey, there's some free weed at the office. Or like you'll open the freezer and there's like edibles and you're like, that could literally put you on the couch for now.
At the beginning, what were you the most unprepared for?
That's a great question.
That's a good question. Like growth would be the first thing. We launched much quicker and grew much quicker than most people do. So I think like from an engineering standpoint, it was like you end up doing a lot of work to like just keep up the functionality when you'd prefer to be working on new features and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like looking back, I still wouldn't change how we did it. Like everything we did, we had to do it that way.
Growth as a challenge to you was that you were growing too fast. You were getting too many users to handle.
Yep.
Not where most people struggle with usership.
Bingo.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like crickets. It was like, oh shit, like there's a ton of people on the app.
You actually have something here.
Yeah, which is excellent problem to have.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing now?
A lot of these platforms do not allow for any kind of marijuana advertising whatsoever. So we've been shut down by Twitter a couple times, by Facebook currently, and it's just a constant struggle.
I've just like gotten used to it now. It's kind of funny. Had a ton of bank accounts shut down. Finally, we have one that's friendly to us.
Wow, so you have bank accounts shut down.
Oh yeah, we've had bank accounts shut down. We've
had our email service shut down.
Yep.
We've had our app shut down by the App Store and by the Google Play Store. That's a whole nother story we'll get into. We've actually overcome every single one of them, eventually.
Until we got into the industry, I don't think you realize how many people are involved with it in some sense. So it's kind of funny, you realize like, oh, this is like, actually people are much more okay with this than you originally think.
What were some of the best resources that you leveraged getting started?
When it comes to resources, just look to who you know and who would be passionate about what you're doing. Isaac called me because I knew how to do graphic design, and even though I might not have been the best, he knew I'd be passionate enough about it to do it for free. and to get involved in that sense. And we knew Stuart would be passionate about it to develop it out.
And then another thing I think is to be like very aware that the idea is the smallest piece of the equation, frankly. Like, plenty of people have good ideas. Everyone has a dream, but like, I think you have to be really aware that execution is the only thing that matters. Like I love it when people like will pitch us on something and just be like, I have this great idea, but I can't tell you unless you sign an NDA. It's like, fuck your NDA. Like, it doesn't, if you don't have a plan to execute it, your idea is shit. A lot of people who overestimate the value of an idea and underestimate the idea of the value of the actual execution will have a very difficult time.
You're absolutely right with the execution.
And a lot of people want to perfect what they have because it's like their baby, and before they put it out to the market to even test it.
Like, just getting started thing, I think it's like super easy to say like, there's a better time to do it than right now when I have like this much in my bank account, I'll be able to do it. When like my kid finishes school, I'll be able to do it, or like whatever your excuse might be, you know, like that is just a totally endless loop. And like, it like if you do not, there's never a right time. Like, there's never a perfect time to do it. Sometimes it might be more right than others, but like if you keep tricking yourself into thinking like, oh, I would totally go start this venture, like do what I really care about if I just had like $10,000 in the bank and like then I can do it. Well, you like, I promise you when you get there, you'll think I need 20,000 more. Like, that is the loop that I think just kills people.
It doesn't have to be perfect, like get it to market. So like he was saying, a lot of people spend a lot of time like making every little detail perfect, when in reality, prove the concept, show that there's traction, show that there's a need and a want for what you're actually doing.
Like the MVP should kind of be embarrassed by it, frankly. Like, if it's perfect, you waited too long to launch. If
you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you launch too late.
The very first version of Facebook, of Twitter, of I think
even Google.
LinkedIn and Google. Yeah. You wouldn't even recognize them now.
You can work a job and just hustle nights and weekends, getting your idea off the ground. The technology makes the startup cost much cheaper. So like, do yourself a favor, and before you quit your job or make some huge change and kind of bet the ranch on this idea, make sure it's something people want. We just live in an awesome time when you can do that for way cheaper than probably historically you've been able to do.
Where would you see yourselves if you hadn't followed through with the idea?
I mean, definitely my path was, and I think all of ours to an extent, was like the traditional path. Like, went to UVA, econ degree, go into finance, and then like there was a very clear path there if I wanted to stay. Like, very clear path, just guaranteed financial security in 20 years. But like, I could see the path ahead of me, and like that terrified me. I could have seen myself very easily gotten in that loop I talked about. Like, I'll work on this idea next year when I have this pay raise or whatever. Like I'll do it when I have like more vacation.
An interesting question I like to hear people's response on is like, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? But how old are you guys?
Right, 24.
22.
23. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah,
we look forward to seeing you tonight for sure.
Yeah, that'll be a good time.
Cool.
Pretty excited.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, excited.
Cool, yeah, thanks again.
Stuart said it would be a great idea for us to come visit them the weekend that they have their hash bash, which we'll see footage of that coming up later in the episode. So, where I got that t-shirt. Actually, before the MassRoots interview, we passed by this building with art murals all over it. Turns out it's a local business that sells local artwork. It's called Megafauna. And John, the owner, opened it as a place for local artists to sell their work. Primarily clothing that artists design. But like cool clothing, not Miss Lippy clothing.
We have occasion, we're fortunate because there's so much happening in Denver right now. We have occasion to have a lot of really high profile, both local, regional, and national talent that comes through, showcase what they're doing, and have a place to sell it. After a few years in business, we kind of reached this limit that a lot of local artists, independents, reach where they can't source or continue their business forward because there's no place, there's no home for them to go. And so we used to be in this art collective studio space, and 80 artists in there, and all this amazing artwork, mural work, whatever happened they're doing, was just kind of sitting in their studio, never seeing the light of day unless they could get a show somewhere. So we approached those guys and said, hey, look, if we went and found a space, like I'm thinking about starting up a store, 100% locally consigned, great percentages from local artists, and everybody was on board.
I don't think these shirts are making it to Marshall's anytime soon.
So what's good here? The Megafauna first. This is solid.
And what is that?
It's pork belly. We got pork on top of it. We got mushroom barbecue sauce, pickles, and some cheese melted on. Served nice and hot right. That sounds amazing.
That is pork belly, pulled pork, Swiss cheese, some amazing sauce, and pickles. A lot of fun. Unbelievable.
So now off to the Hash Bash on top of the Denver Clock Tower in downtown Denver. The DJ Grizz was there promoting his new strain of cannabis called Grizz Kush. The dispensary Native Roots is now making custom strains of cannabis for different celebrities and musicians, Grizz being one of the first.
Come for that.
I had to triple check every piece of food that I ate to make sure it wasn't laced with THC. That's the last thing I would need, is to be on my ass after accidentally stuffing my face with an edible.
Oh yeah, it's refreshing but delicious.
As the party winds down, we are simultaneously watching a lightning storm in one part of the sky, and in the other part, a beautiful sunset. And as you can imagine, it is blowing the minds of everyone here.
Come for that.
After the Hash Bash, I'm heading over to grab some much needed late night eats with Isaac, the CEO and co-founder of MassRoots. I couldn't imagine running a massive startup in my early 20s, but for Isaac, this has been something he's been planning since he was a teenager. Before MassRoots, Isaac was a finalist for Peter Thiel's 20 Under 20 Fellowship, which is an extremely prestigious program to be a part of. Peter Thiel's fellowship provides a $100,000 grant for students who want to leave college and focus on bringing their idea to life.
At the end of the day, like the two top tech companies here in Denver are Yahoo and PhotoBucket. What are you going to do at Yahoo and PhotoBucket that is so special that's going to change the world?
Yeah.
Whereas they're bored there, where they can come and be part of something new, exciting.
Yeah, I mean, essentially you guys are like in a movement at the same time as working,
And that's the primary reason for our success. It's not because of anything that we're special or so smart. It's just that we're at the right place at the right time with the right product.
You're in a great spot. 420,000 users.
Yep. We also have the largest marijuana social followings on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Of reasons why people wouldn't invest, like what's the most common response that you hear?
For investing, it's a combination of things. Like from investors that are not tech investors, they're like, well, you haven't been generating any revenues. You've just been focused on growing your user base. Like, prove that you can generate money, and then I'll start taking a look at you. Whereas literally Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of them have proved the model. You build up the user base and then you start to monetize. And then the tech investors that do get that, that do understand that business model are marijuana investors. They're not looking to invest in the marijuana space. So that's the Silicon Valley VC funds. And, they all tell me the exact same thing. We love your business. This is, extremely, awesome company in a unique industry. But we can't touch you because you're cannabis related.
So imagine all the hurdles that any startup has to go through, and imagine getting over those hurdles only to find a whole new set of hurdles waiting for you on the other side. That's kind of what it seems like to be a startup that is cannabis related. I will take a home-cooked meal over a chain restaurant any day. Sassafras is exactly that type of restaurant. It actually is, or was, a home. Any restaurant that has 2 types of homemade jam waiting for you at the table is going to be outstanding. Then the waitress mentions the biscuits.
Are they homemade?
They are.
I gotta try them.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, also on that.
I had the fried green tomato eggs Benedict with homemade cornbread and a warm homemade biscuit, covered in the jam, of course. Chris got French toast made with real French bread, topped with maple butter. And now, off to the mountains. It's funny, looking at the mountains has a similar effect to looking at the stars. They make you feel so small and insignificant, but also empowered all at the same time. While hiking through the mountains, I start to realize this is sort of a company now. I mean, we're basically on a work trip. Maybe you could even call it a seminar. And we're kind of accidentally doing what most company seminars are intended to do. We are team building, having good one-on-ones and meetings where we're talking about our goals and dreams and setting expectations with one another. We're networking with others. Well, just this nice couple that we helped over at Log Bridge and this bird that keeps following us. Chris's work attire is a Game of Thrones t-shirt, big black army-like boots, and jeans, because every cigarette smoker should be hiking at high altitudes in 10-pound boots and jeans. But ultimately, Chris and I are getting excited to get back and work, or whatever you call this. All in all, pretty damn good seminar. We even have our own version of the beloved trust fall. Only our version of the trust fall is that if Chris falls on this makeshift log bridge, I trust that he has insurance. It's funny until the exact moment that I realize, oh shit, this is actually something I should be very concerned about. And then I start to think about what else have I been neglecting to realize, and about all the ways that this could easily just crash and burn. The thoughts of not only failing at this, but also losing everything in the process start to invade my Rocky Mountain high.
Turning clouds into mountains, hills into holes, oh, dancing between the lines of a moon, not yet so. The radio's playing stupid and it reeks of stale cigarettes. And
I chose to put myself out there on the internet of all places. The fucking internet, the cruelest place in the whole world. What am I even getting myself into?
That sink in your stomach when everything goes wrong. But the timer of it all, he didn't play in my song.
If I fail, I do it in front of everyone. Or just as likely, and maybe even more sad, in front of no one.
I heard a million voices, happy as clams.
The team at MassRoots stressed testing your idea first to see if there is even an interest. This was a wake-up call that punched me right in the face, because I haven't tested anything yet. We haven't released an episode because even if there is interest, we don't have the resources to produce episodes fast enough to keep up. So I'm risking my job with a great company, all while trying to save up money for an idea that, even if it does well, could still fail. I'm doubting myself just as much as I'm encouraging myself. It's as if everything is a fucking conundrum with opposite outcomes pulling at equal force.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
Turning clouds into mountains, hills into holes.
I am now in the complete unknown. A seemingly endless terrain full of peaks and valleys, a mountain range that I used to only look at from afar, but now am right in the middle of. And I feel so small and insignificant, but quietly empowered all at the same time. I'm Nate Wolverton. This is Lifestyle by Design.